One key finding that we found in the PulsePoint research of chief communications officers with large companies is a growing kind of interest in making sure that governance is aligned with culture. And what I mean by that, that's particularly in the communications function. What I mean by that is in large companies, whether the communications function is centralized or decentralized, it's really critical that there's clarity of the role of the chief communications officer and what role corporate plays and what role the business units play in communications and how they also kind of integrate with one another. So for example, if you're doing public relations in a business unit, you may have the authority or the responsibility to go out and actually hire a public relations agency to support the marketing effort for a brand. Now, what's the role of the chief communications officer in the corporate function? Do they oversee that? Do they have the authority? Do they approve that or not? If they don't, companies often wind up waking up one day and finding out that they have 50 agencies around the world. That's not good. So having clarity as to what the role is of corporate, do they involve themselves in these agency selection processes? Not just about agencies, it's also about recruiting talent. I mean, do communications talent come into the organization and go through kind of the corporate process? What about brand and reputation management? Frequently in the past, the advertising and marketing folks had a responsibility for kind of corporate advertising, if you will. One of the trends we've seen very clearly over the last few years is that responsibility for the corporate brand, corporate advertising, is increasingly going to the chief communications officer, who inevitably works collaboratively with the CMO and others. But this is a trend that's evolving. Clarity on governance around this, how the brand is managed, corporate reputation, and so forth is a critical kind of issue the chief communications officers are facing right now. And it's one of the key things that kind of came out in our research. And there is greater emphasis now being placed on policy formation and making sure there's clarity of these responsibilities and that people throughout the organization know it so that there's no ambiguity if you're working in communications or in marketing for a business unit and you're not physically located at headquarters. There's absolute clarity as to when corporate gets involved in something and when corporate does not. And as we all know, if there's ambiguity, that's death. So this kind of greater commitment to policy and clarity of policy and making sure it's understood by the organization is something that we see as a very positive development.